Hey everybody, and welcome to the Nerdsplaining podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me as always, my co-host, Jose Romero.
Good morning, everybody. Here again, in my little Spidey cup, which is fitting as we'll be talking to Spider-Man later today, Derek.
I have an entirely white coffee mug in honor of Moon Knight. So that's what I'm doing
There you
here.
Paying homages. This is what we do here at Nerdsplaining.
Coffee from cashew from Egypt. The most delicious of coffee. It feels like vengeance.
How's it going, man?
Thank you. But we're here on a Saturday morning. The week is over, and we're here to recap all the nerd experiences, the highs and the meh that has been out there. And I know that there's a bunch of stuff to talk to about this week, Jose. And are you excited about this week? How do you feel about this week?
This week was interesting, but it ended very Titans-like, courtesy of Disney minus. That's what I'll refer to it this weekend because we'll get into it. But that was very disappointing. I gotta say.
Understood.
Yeah, it was not what I expected. But like I said, there's a lot of nuggets, but there's a lot of mainly Disney and Marvel related for the most part.
Sure.
You know, we got with the real Kathleen Kennedy, please stand up. And never has been a more appropriate saying, particularly with Tom Holland, when was the old saying, what a tangled web we weave when we first practice to deceive. We're going to get into that, Tom Holland, shame on you. But that being said, let's first start with the smaller nugget, right? We got Miss Kennedy. She was on a high for a little bit, you know. We know she was shitting the bricks and all that, and now we get Mandalorian and Boba Fett. And it's on the whole watch, so I got to give credit's due, whether she's involved in these projects or not. But then we go back to what we know Kathleen Kennedy does. Reports came out, obviously, last year at the first Disney event, a much better Disney event, where they had a cool little intro video announcement for Rogue Squadron to be directed by Patty Jenkins, coming off, I think it was before Wonder Woman came out, but the second one.
It was right before Wonder Woman 84 came out.
Okay, so a lot of excitement, cool little take on it. She had a really cool, it was a really good video that they set up and kind of intro to it.
It was super fun. It felt like very, almost like you were just following her in day in the life, and next thing you know, she's in the X-Wing pilot jump gear, and you're like, oh, this is going to look pretty cool.
It was cool. I think her dad was in the Air Force or something like that.
Talking about dads in the Air Force,
right?
Right.
So it was very fitting. So it was very cool, right? So all very excited. New Star Wars film, why not? And now reports come that it's been delayed indefinitely because, and they use the term scheduling conflicts or issues.
Sure.
Which is code for you're full of shit. It's nonsense because scheduling with this wasn't worked out a year ago. Like these people, their schedules are set for years.
I've been hearing rumors that the pre-production has been a disaster from top to bottom, mostly because, if you remember, after Wonder Woman 1984 came out, Disney kind of took away her carte blanche to do whatever she wanted to do. He said, "Hey, we love Patty Jenkins, and this has nothing to do with Wonder Woman 1984, but we're just letting you know as a press release that we're going to be working with Patty to make sure that Rogue Squadron stays on target," basically. And apparently the whole thing has been, it's not been a dumpster fire, but it's been like...
fire, but I mean, I'm surprised they just didn't say creative differences, because that's usually the word that's thrown out, the phrase that gets thrown out with this stuff, creative differences or depart mutually, the whole breakup, it was mutual.
Sure.
Kiss mask. It was just never mutual. But we all know that. But yeah, so here we go again. And I just, I put the heat on Kath. I give her credit, and I got to give her what's due sometimes, but she got to take the heat too, because this is on her. She hired Patty Jenkins. You know her, if it's for sake of argument that it's true, that it is scheduling conflicts, fair enough. Why is this not known when you know her schedule? You know she's making Wonder Woman 3 at some point, and they probably know exactly when that will start production. She's doing Cleopatra with Gal Gadot. That they know when that starts production. You know these things. Everybody in the studios talk, right? Director says, "Okay, I'll agree to the film, but I got
agents talk."
Yeah, they all talk. Yeah, look, I have a movie on these days. Okay, so we'll plan around that. It's known. Don't come a year later, and say, "Oh, the scheduling nonsense." I don't buy it for a second. And just It's Kathleen Kennedy. We've seen this story in Dance before. How many directors she's gone through, before or after production. It's happened so many times. Here we go again. And I got a feeling, it's a feeling, doesn't mean shit, but I got a feeling this is probably not going to get made.
I feel like it's going to get made, not with Patty Jenkins.
And that could very be the case, but for sure, don't think I can say for sure this is going to cause a couple year delay easily. I think 2023 was the release date. It's not hitting that. I'll tell you right now, it's not.
And let me just say this: I am a huge Rogue Squadron fan. I have Rogue Squadron comic books and novels because I love the idea of this squad of ace pilots, of humans and aliens, just getting to regular people adventures. It's Top Gun for Star Wars.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I really liked that. And I'm partial to Wedge Antilles. Everyone has their own pilot that they enjoy. So I was very excited to see what was going to happen. And the fact that, like I said, a year later, there's not even like, hey, look at this proof of concept artwork. I mean, yeah. Kenobi went from movie, TV show, and they had tons of artwork to show just what they were doing.
Yeah. This was creative differences. What do you want to call it? It was something behind the scenes. It's not the sky. I don't buy. I can't buy that for a second. It doesn't make any sense to me. They didn't see eye to eye. As Kathleen Kennedy, what else is new? I mean, it's frustrating because I didn't want to see that. And yeah, you're right. It's like a top. How cool would it be if Tom Cruise was in the movie? Just saying. Like a cameo as a pilot. Come on, that's pretty dope. Just
if Tom Cruise is in that movie, there has to be a scene where he's running towards an X-wing that's about to take off, and he jumps up and they catch him, and then because Tom Cruise has to run towards everything.
I know you can't have a volleyball game in Galaxy Far Far Away, but maybe like a lightsaber battle with the shirts off.
No, he's not a Jedi. You can't do lightsabers with shirts off. He's not a Jedi.
Dude,
he's not a Jedi.
It's Tom Cruise, dude. I don't know. He can do whatever he wants.
You could have a volleyball game with like an Ewok.
Maybe you want a Chewie because he can spike them. I'm just saying, put the net higher. But either way, yeah. So it's disappointing news. What par for the course? I mean, whatever. I mean, we'll see what happens. Now I'm really. I think the only movie now that's besides Rogue Squadron was the Waika Waititi one, which was right,
and also the Kevin Feige.
But we haven't had any. That was all. There's nothing in motion, right?
There was a bit of news.
I heard that the rumors with Chloe Zhao, but it's
Chloe Zhao,
but I mean nothing confirmed. It's just rumors, and again, that hasn't even started. There's I don't think the idea is even there yet, to be honest with you.
Taika's project is closer to development.
Exactly, and that's the one That's the one I was more excited about. I mean, I want to see Rogue Squadron. I wanted to see it, but let's hopefully. if Kennedy can't work with someone like him, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's a huge problem. And listen, Patty Jenkins is a good director too. I know Wonder Woman 84 didn't hit. I get it, but
you look at
she's a good director.
Wonder Woman and Monster, and those are
she knows what she's doing. So it's not like she's some scrub off the streets. She's not a first timer, and she's done big budget. Obviously, the first Wonder Woman. So yeah, it's odd. It's unfortunate. Whatever. Thank God for Bubba. But that being said, second interesting bit of news, and let's stay with Marvel here, and that's Eternal stuff. I think we talked about this last week. It was solid.
We did a deep dive. We did the spoiler-free version. We covered all
that. You can catch that on the channel. Of course, we both liked it. We just didn't love it. It wasn't anything fantastic, right? At the end of the day, just to cut it short. But so I guess the writers for Eternals were talking. They had an interview with them. And they have hopes. They had stories developed and hopes to bring it to Disney Plus in the form of prequel of Eternals.
Okay, all right.
Why the fuck would anybody want to see a prequel of the Eternals? Because this is and paraphrasing here, but they were talking about what's that? Nanjiani's character, I forgot his name, but either way,
Kango.
Yes. So talk about going back in the 20s or whatever with him, and a story with how he's going to how Hollywood film. Listen. Anything with the prequels to Eternals is just there's nothing to show. Whatever happens, World War II, slavery, Rwanda, they can't interfere and they didn't interfere. So what are they doing? Nothing.
Right.
There's no deviance. So what are we showing them doing? Eating? I mean,
there's a difference between dancing between the raindrops and staying inside while it rains.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, good point. So it's like, okay, what can you give us in the prequel? They don't fight nobody and they don't interfere. Okay, just them sitting around. I mean, I don't care about him making a movie.
The only thing that I wouldn't mind watching, there is a form of the Eternals prequels that I wouldn't mind watching, but it's going to be the kind of stories nobody wants to watch. Like, show me Druig managing the town's resources. And so like playing like,
Oh God.
like a sim simulator, like, oh man, I gotta get some food and I gotta put a place a bathroom. Oh, this is
Very exciting stuff.
it's live action Sims, live action roller coaster tycoon kind of like, you should just wipe everybody out, start over again. Like, that's fine. I'll do that.
Let's go set up irrigate some water. The crops gotta grow. God, it's.
Show me Gilgamesh learning how to get drunk on his own saliva beer. Like that.
That could be interesting. But as a short, I'll give you that.
As a short, exactly.
Yeah, he stumbles around town.
My prequels are not going to be entertaining to anybody unless you have like a really dry or like twisted sense of humor. But if you make them as little shorts,
okay,
where no character is considered heroic, it's just like, look at these dummies doing things. Like, then I'm gonna watch.
The people watching. Yeah, I can see that. As that, obviously, that's not their vision, but yeah, I'll give you that. But it's just and they even mentioned Jon Snow's character.
Dane Whitman.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Dane Whitman.
Yeah, telling one of his stories. I'm like, well, there's nothing to tell.
He's not the black.
He's a regular guy until the end of the movie. What are you gonna tell? I don't know. It's weird. I really don't want to see this.
Whenever you tell a story of somebody before they have powers, it feels like the thing they were doing on Doom Patrol. Like, when you don't have powers, you're not fucking interested. Right. Like, you're just a schlub.
Exactly.
And no one cares about a schlub. I want to see a guy.
Nobody wants to see
something amazing.
Yeah.
If you can't do amazing, you're just a schlub.
You're a schlub. Yeah, I don't get, because I think that the producers I heard were saying that they weren't gonna do a Eternals sequel per se. I'm sure they're going to feature those characters.
Now, if you do a sequel TV series where you do almost like Game of Thrones. I could
see that. That would make sense. But as far as film, and then he said TV, but film, I don't think the plan was to do anymore. But they're going to feature some of those characters we saw in other films, which that makes more sense.
Right.
But yeah, so see a prequel. I don't like prequels anyway, i.e. Black Widow. But yeah, this
prequel trilogy.
Yeah, at least Black Widow, you can do something in Black Widow. She did stuff before the Avengers, right? These guys didn't do shit for like 5,000 years. There's nothing to see. Nothing.
Well, to be fair, they didn't do shit for 2,000 years.
Okay, my bad. I misspoke. Okay, so 2,000 years. So, seriously. So yeah, that was odd. But that being said, again, you're just talking about this. It's not in production. It's not in development. This is their hope and wish. But nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see it.
I will say, I just thought of something. There is one Eternals character I wouldn't mind watching a prequel for. Salma Hayek's Ajak, showing how she became totally disenfranchised with humans, and she became a cattle rancher with no cattle.
I think it all happened when she was dancing with vampires back in the day. And
I think that's what happened.
And that was a turning point for her life.
Yeah, she actually got married to a hitman and had to get another hitman to be their bodyguard.
She's been through a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. You know what? Take it back. I've seen it all.
It's got to break you.
Leave her alone. She's been through a lot. She just needed some
more time. She her own time, get a horse and a ranch, and just live and let live, right?
Yeah, sure.
Being said here, another interesting bit of news, and this was actually a surprising one. It's in a couple parts. So the first part, there was some leaks early this week, and I'm sure Eric, you saw them or whatever, or heard about it, where this YouTuber, John Campia, I used to watch before. I'm not going that much anymore. But I guess he got wind of some pictures that were sent to him. And he put them on Twitter, has his watermark on them. A couple of pictures which were revealed heavy spoilers for the film. And then after a few minutes, and I heard that. I did actually see the show because I was interested to see what he said about it. So he said that he thought they were fake because he gets fake pictures all the time.
Sure.
So he posted them. And I guess a representative who he knows from Disney called him saying, "Hey, you got
Sony."
Yeah, Sony. I'm sorry, Sony. Well, actually both because it's a project. Yeah. But told him, "Hey, these pictures." He didn't say he wasn't told they were legit or not, but he said they could be real.
It could or could not be.
Whatever that means. Right. So he took them down. He's like, "Oh, he excuse me, I apologize. Didn't know what was going on." He took them down. So the pictures was, I mean, if you don't want to hear spoilers, tune in 5 minutes ahead. But that being said, the one picture was of the three Spider-Mans together, which we knew. That's not a spoiler. We knew these guys are
prior to this, there was that other video photo of Andrew Garfield in his Spider-Man costume.
Right.
in a similar setup than when you saw the 3. So it only reconfirms what originally was.
Yeah, they're gonna be in it, but the picture came out, and listen, the picture itself doesn't look real. But for what again, if it wasn't real, I would assume that Camp what he just said. They told me it's legit and took him down or whatever. Maybe he's just trying to play a nice guy and says that they told him it could not be real. The second picture, you saw both of them, Eric, or no?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the second one, I guess, is there at the dinner table with Aunt May, Tom Holland, and then we have. It looks like to be a Daredevil, right? Charlie Cox. Yeah, from the the Netflix version of whatever he looks like him anyway. Which there was rumors about him being in it too, and there have been rumors about that. So they're there, they're taken down. I mean, for me, the Spider-Man is not a huge reveal. We've been knowing this for like over a year that these two guys are going to be in this movie. They just are. The Charlie Cox one is kind of surprising. I mean, it was rumored, you hear that shit.
We've heard rumors about that too.
Yeah, exactly, but nothing confirmed. No one said for sure or whatever, or even a source or whatever. So that was like, okay, interesting. If these are to be believed, I don't know. And obviously, we talked last week about the whole mess with the fans, and they're going bombing them crazy because there's no trailer. And a week later, there's still no trailer. We're gonna get one soon. I guarantee it has to be soon, I guess. But yeah, so that was interesting. So then they talked to Tom Holland, right, on his interview, and there's two things he said that are very interesting. The first one, Tom Holland, the nerve. So he said, I'll read you the quote here. I have it up here. But it says, his quote: "People don't believe me when I say that Maguire and Garfield are not coming back, but people are going to have to believe me at some point." He laughs. "It means a lot to me. The first time you see Doc and the rest of the characters that come back, it's so exciting. Such a huge moment in cinematic history. Calm down. It's 3 generations coming together." So the focus here is that, people are not going to believe me. Eventually they will. Oh, Tom, listen. There's ways of answering these kinds of questions, right? Tom Holland, is any rumors true about Maguire and this guy? At this point, I don't know anything about that. You're going to just have to see the movie and find out for yourself like I will. Done. Right, that's it. You could have said that a year ago, and this is the second or third time he keeps denying and emphasizing it.
Maybe the way Tom was like, listen, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are not in this movie. Who isn't in this movie is 2 other Peter Parkers from other dimensions.
That's a good point.
Technically, I'm right.
That's true.
They were not in this movie. 2 other Peter Parkers were in this movie.
Yeah, and then when this movie comes out, he's not made a liar, like, because this is the kind of thing where like, listen, and he's been known to spill shit in the past, but now it's swung the other way. The pendulum swung the other way. It's like, okay.
I think the telltale sign is when he says, when you watch the movies and you see guys like Doc Ock and other characters, he just says after Belina, he says Doc Ock. So he's referring to them as characters, not the actors.
True. Yeah, for me,
and I think that's his, like, I technically am not lying.
I never said that. I gotcha. Yeah, so, but Tom Holland. It's like, I don't know why no one's like prepping him to speak to the media when it comes to these things, particularly now.
It's almost like his shtick. His shtick is, I can't keep secrets.
That's what I'm saying. He can't help himself. Because the more he denies it, the worse it looks, right? Because you don't see for a fact that Kevin Feige's been asked this 1,000 times. I guarantee he has. And he's done interviews recently, talked about Eternals and etc. And he hasn't said a peep. There's nothing that's been printed about anything because the
only thing he's ever said is, you ask Alfred Molina, because that fucking guy just
right. That he caved because the cat was like, the cat's out of the bag. What are you gonna do, right? I mean, no wrong. He probably tells the writer, "Don't print anything," or you're never gonna speak to me again. So he's got clout. So I get that. But still, he's never said anything alluded to, even made no comment. You don't hear anything about him, Maguire, Garfield, nothing. So, Holland, come on, dude. You gotta learn. You can learn from the master. Learn from Feige, man. That's what he's there for. But he made some other interesting comments. This is kind of cool. So he says in the same article, Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home's not fun. It's going to be brutal. No Way Home is dark, sad, the best Spider-Man film that we've ever made. I'll forget the last part because they all say it's the best movie we've ever made. But the fact that he says it's sad, dark, brutal.
To be fair, I feel like every Marvel Sony Spider-Man has been better than the one before it.
I like the Homecoming better than Far From Home, me personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I just better Michael Keaton as the villain was really good. A rare Marvel villain. You gotta take that.
Yeah.
But either way, but they're both good. But yeah, so I mean, he says it's. But the fact that it looks like, I mean, I don't know if it's going dark. He says it is. He's got a big mouth, so it's probably.
It's probably darker than the other two.
Yeah,
so technically
it's dark
he's
and,
not
and
wrong.
sad, and he mentions about some characters, things happening to him that you didn't expect or whatever. For whatever that means.
And as a Spider-Man fan who's read the comics, Spider-Man has had dark moments, like Kraven the Hunter kills himself. That's a dark moment. Or when Spider-Man was actually fighting members of Kraven's family who was trying to bring him back. One time, Spider-Man put his hand on Kraven's wife's face, and when he pulled it out, he permanently left a hand mark on her face because he did a stickiness on her face. Then he yanked.
Oh, wow.
She's like, ah, and he goes, that's for you never to forget how close that. He even one time went up to the Kingpin and he says, do you know how easy it would be for me to kill you? I wouldn't even have to hit you. I just got to put my wrist in your mouth and unload a chamber of webbing inside your body, and you're done. And even the King was like, holy shit.
Where's this Spider-Man been, dude? Look at this guy on screen. Sounds awesome.
Peter Parker only gets to that point when he's been taken to the edge. He's not that dude, but he has that in him. But he's not that dude.
That's cool.
You know?
That's cool. I didn't know.
I like
that.
That
Spider-Man sounds great to me. It does.
It comes in ebbs and flows, but it makes perfect sense. And that's why if he's saying the last Spider-Man movie they're going to do this way is going to be dark, I can see it because there's precedent for Peter going that dark or the world around him being that dark, you know? So
yeah, I mean,
because
multiverse, who knows what's going to happen. And again, this all signs point to the last one in MCU, at least for the time being. So I got things that end up being trapped in a different universe. I mean, you tell me, Eric, if I'm wrong with that, but and he can't get back. I mean, and there's no way back home. You know, little pun. You know,
it makes sense. But remember, he still has one Marvel team movie on his
contract.
contract.
I'm sure he can find his way back. But I think that's how the movie's going to end. You know,
Secret Wars is probably going to be when the one time they bring him back to have the whole thing. So
right, exactly. I find a way to come back. Or maybe that's the timelines that movie takes place before this one. You know, we
could be
potentially. So yeah, so that's interesting comments from him. So okay, listen, this is the one I'm excited about. I think this one should be the best one we've seen this year in terms of Marvel.
Oh yeah,
you know, that may not say a whole lot, given two of them have been, but whatever. This has to be better than Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah,
it has to be. As far as I'm concerned.
It's easily better than Eternals.
It's already better. The trailer's already better than Eternals. Already been backward just on what we see.
It's gonna be better. Yeah,
If it's not, we got a serious problem. Right now.
Yeah.
This has to be better than Shang-Chi, as far as I'm concerned. It needs to be, right? And plus, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes for whatever long it is.
Look,
it's better be good.
They've done it twice before, so it's not like they're figuring it out. Like both Shang-Chi and Eternals, that was their first outing. So, you know, the first time out, you don't really nail it all the time. Sometimes you do, like Iron Man and Cap nailed it. Guardians nailed it first time out.
Agreed.
But others, you kind of figure things out as they go along. And like I said, Spider-Man has knocked it out twice, so it's not even a figuring out. It's just like now we're gonna fucking dismount with a giant firework.
Right. This is the sticking the landing film for this trilogy or whatever you want to call them. Because if it is the last one, you know, bring it, right? If it's going to be at least for a while, if that's the plan, I think it is. So I can't wait for that. I know we're itching for that trailer. I just can't wait to see that trailer. I'm not going to Sony bomb, you know, but I'll wait patiently, folks. Okay, learn.
Sure.
So let's go Disney Plus here. Disney Plus, of course, had their Disney Plus Day or whatever you want to call it. And I think you and I were talking before. I thought it was going to be like a DC fandom kind of event.
That's what I
thought. And maybe that's what announced. Maybe we didn't read into it. I mean, they could have announced it's just going to be the format it was. The format. And maybe. I don't know. But so it's a big event. Last year they had the shareholders meeting where they shared a bunch of stuff, footage and announcements.
Which was super exciting.
Super cool. Yeah, people came on the stage and etc. This one was a waste of time. And God... And not the DC fandom was great. It wasn't. But it made it look like the Citizen Kane of cons. It's just...
Do you think that there's still going to be like a Disney investors video they're going to release kind of like they did last year?
It's possible. I don't know. Who knows? But this is what we got for now, right? So essentially what happened with this is, for people who don't know, whatever the case is, it was just more like a social media kind of thing, right? Where they... just on Facebook, on their Facebook page, Instagram, whatever, they're putting up announcements. These announcements were either some trailers, like Baymax, from what that movie's called, the Hero 6. He's like getting his own spin-off show, movie, or whatever on Disney Plus, or the Sneakerella. It's just ridiculous. Disney Plus sucks, but whatever. I'm not even into this. That's what this is about. But they just had a bunch of just announcements and whatever, some trailers, and then they were gonna have a Pixar presentation on Disney, the actual channel Disney Plus, and a Marvel presentation on Disney Plus. Which sound okay, great. And this is where now that's what we're waiting for,
What
right?
we thought,
We
right?
thought the Pixar was like literally a 5-minute shot video, and the guy going around the studio and had a couple of snippets or quick minor announcements and stuff they're developing. And the Marvel one, okay, fine, let's get down to business. It was 15 minutes long, of which the first like 8-9 minutes was all trailers of all the shows we've already seen.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did we do? So they gave us like maybe, and then it was 8 minutes of that, and another 3 or 4 minutes of the Hawkeye stuff, which is coming out. We don't have to see that much. It's coming out in 2 weeks.
Sure.
Which is fine. It's good footage. But then we get like 2 minutes of 3 or 4 of the shows, and that's all you give us. Like, where's the presentation? Where's the the fanfare? There's nothing there. It was really disappointing because they barely gave us anything new. I mean, they did announce the slate, or they highlighted, which we already knew anyways. It's not like this is not new.
They reconfirmed everything that's been rumored.
Right. We got, and I have the list here. We got the Spider-Man freshman year, I guess some kind of animation.
Sure.
Marvel Zombies, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Echo, Ironheart. We all knew these. Secret Invasion. All this was known. And then the only one that we talked about was in development, but I guess it's coming to fruition. The one no one really cares about, except for maybe the person making the actual thing, and that's Agatha, House of Harkness. God, talk about something just a shade above the Eternals prequels. It's
that they released that got me really excited, but there was nothing to look at, which is X-Men 97.
I knew you were gonna say. I was about to say that too. I saved it for last because I knew you were gonna bring that up. I knew that, and for good reason. That was kind of cool, right? The X-Men old school, which is I love that series back in it was on Fox Saturday morning when that came out. So that was cool. That was like the only surprise announcement. But you're right, they just mentioned it. Would put up, the graphics up, and that's it. So whatever.
If you own all the back catalog, which they have all that X-Men series on Disney Plus, play a theme song.
Do something.
Like there should have been something like give us a little. It was so close, and you're just like here. Like here's what I'm saying: there is a difference between seeing somebody naked, which is like, oh, they're naked, and is like a burlesque dancer putting on a show, like, oh, look at this, it's a whole thing. And sometimes you need a little feathers, you need some sort of a little shimmy and a shake,
razzle dazzle, some light work,
But you don't even have to think. We don't even have a soundtrack for it. You have an entire catalog of music. You play it at any time just to get people excited about it. And maybe some sort of like flash animation. Like I've seen trailers for comic books that were more compelling than them showing you just the slate of stuff that's coming out.
And which we already knew anyway. I mean, and we'll talk about. They gave us like 3. They're not trailers. They're just footage, right? But they're very short. Right. I mean, even DC gave us much longer stuff, whether it be post production work or behind the scenes kind of stuff and trailers. That's what you do, right? You bring it. This was okay, but the footage was fine. And let's talk about the first one, because the first one obviously was Moon Knight. I think we got like maybe not even a minute, whatever it was. This is one I know you're excited about. I don't know much about this. Kind of like he's Arthur Isaac. He's like I guess the main guy. He's like multiple personality disorder, right? And every personality's something or.
So originally, the big hook for Moon Knight was he was a mercenary called Mark Spector, and he dies and comes back to life, and he believes the reason it was brought back to life is because the Egyptian moon god Khonshu, who is also the god of vengeance, has brought him back. He goes, I want you to be my avatar on Earth. And to fight crime, he realizes I need to get I don't want to just fight random supervillains. I want to fight crime in all aspects. So he develops 2 other secret identities. Jake Lockie, which is a like street level cab driver. So he kind of gets to know what's going on, like at those bars and the street. And then he develops another personality or secret identity called Stephen Grant, which is like a millionaire. So like a Bruce Wayne-ish kind of guy. So he sees all the white collar crimes and everything, right? And this way, he's inserted to all levels of society, so he's aware of all types of crime, which is a really cool idea. And then they brought in this idea of like he had been doing this for so long, and he'd been through so much stress, and he's died a couple of times and got brought back to life because of Khonshu, that his brain literally split into three personalities to deal with the stresses of crime fighting, of putting his body to such extreme pain and dying and coming back, that he has multiple. So each one independently. It's almost like if you like Crazy Jane in Doom Patrol.
Right.
She knows that she has other personalities. They can talk to each other, but each one is independent on their own. That is how his personalities start working with himself. So it made him a much more fractured and dangerous character because of this, I think. And they also developed a fourth personality called Mr. Knight, which is like Sherlock Holmesian. And he dresses in a complete white three-piece suit with the white mask. It looks fucking dope. Well, creepy as shit, but it almost looks like a Slender Man kind of thing, but just all in white. And he's very, very analytical. And all those personalities I'm super into. So with Oscar Isaac being as good of an actor he is, it is really exciting to see that. And there was like hints of like that Batman-y-ness of him.
Yeah, it's very dark. It looks like a darker show,
yes.
Which is interesting, which is I like it. You know, it's a good direction for Marvel. I mean, we'll see how dark they get with it. Is a comic like that dark, or is it just? I mean, is it kind of heavy?
It is. Okay. It is very dark. Like especially when they rebooted him in the late '90s, early 2000s, they rebooted Moon Knight with this storyline called The Bottom, which is fantastic. If you can get the trade for it, get it, because it's a great story. But there's this great moment where like Moon Knight is like covered in blood because he's been beating the shit out of these guys in the alleyway. And the one guy that's left is like freaking out, and Moon Knight tells him, "Do you want to know why I wear all white? It's not because I don't realize what this looks like. It's because I am an avatar of my God. This are my clothes of my religion. This is how I give praise to him, and I want you to know that I'm coming." And I know that you can see me, and you still can't stop me.
That's cool.
And that's like, so I hope they have that moment in the series, whether it's like at the end of it, so that's how he fully embraces who he is.
Right.
But like, and if you see the costume, I think this is like the proto version of his costume because he looks very. It almost looks like a cosplay costume. It doesn't look like cold, like textured armor. It looks very cloth, very like fabricy, and so. I'm kind of interested. Like, is this like his proto version? So like how like in Daredevil and the Netflix series starts off just all in black, and then he gets
a suit after
the Daredevil costume. I'm hoping it's something like that because it looks cool. It also makes him look crazier if it's just regular white instead of like a armor thing. But I think there was like, if you remember, there was like some leaked photos that made him look more Egyptian wrapped. Do you remember when they had that whole thing where?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like towards the tail end of the series where he gets closer to that, and it's a little bit of a grayer. But I mean, overall, it was like getting a text at 2:00 in the morning asking, "Are you up?" and then like a nude photo. You're like, "Oh, this could be a thing," and then just you write back and then never get back to you. Like, oh man, that sucks.
Jeez.
That's what Moon Knight felt like. Just a little bit like, come on.
Yeah. It does look interesting, so I'm looking forward to that. The other one was the second was She-Hulk. Coming out. There's no date. The other one say 2022. This one didn't have that, but it's obviously 2000. Well, it could be later, I guess. But yeah, so this one was interesting. This is cool. We got our first shot. Well, this was like 40 seconds long. This was very short, but we got our first look at kind of her as.
You got to see her legs and her
Hulk form.
That's what you got to see, the She-Hulk of that.
We had the gratuitous ass shot. Sure, I guess is needed.
And even then, it wasn't the best CG. It looked nice, but it wasn't. You could tell there was a little bit of a.
Yeah, it looked cartoony.
It had a
kind of.
It had a little bit of Pip the Troll-ness to
it. You're right. It didn't. Again, it's the CGI is always worked on right.
That's why there's no release time yet.
Right, and which could be the case. I hope so because the CG seemed off, and
because when the Hulk is in it, he looked great.
No, yeah, he looked. Yeah, we had the Mark Ruffalo's character as the half and half. I'll call
It's
which is
Marvel.
funny
It's
because
Marvel.
when we saw him at the end of Shang-Chi and at the end credit, he's regular Bruce Banner. He's Mark Ruffalo.
But he still had the arm
Exactly.
brace,
So okay, so
and this one didn't. So you're like, did this happen between the 5 years? Is
right
this?
before Infinity, it's interesting that where this fits in. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe this is maybe I don't know. Yeah, because you're right. Because I say even if he in this one he heals himself, well, whatever turns himself back, why is his arm still in a sling? So yeah, it's curious, but I had the scene where I guess he's telling her about controlling all the
I,
emotions of
I
it.
will say one thing. One of the shots in the She-Hulk trailer is She-Hulk as Jen Walters, just the lawyer, standing next to Jess Ruffalo as Banner, and she's like, "And I'm a lawyer." Did that look CG to
It
you? Because
did.
I can't.
It did. It was weird.
Right?
Yeah.
It looked off, and I couldn't tell. Like, is that like a dream sequence? Is that being projected on
Yeah.
something? Like, what is that? Because it looked a
It
little
looked a
off.
little off, and even yeah, and when she says at the end, don't make me angry, and she's breaking the fourth wall, that looked really
Right.
bad too. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Again,
See, that part I didn't have a problem with. It was
oh,
more when she's like standing like this, and I was like, I couldn't.
no, yeah,
It
that
looked
things look off. Again, it's I'm not gonna. I assume this is being worked on, so I'm
right,
not gonna hold the feet to the fire here. I get it, fine. I mean, like I said, we didn't get enough to really judge. It looked cool for what it's worth. I mean,
right.
it's very little.
Listen,
It's very little.
I don't, I never judge anything until it's officially out, because I remember like when they were filming Winter Soldier for the first time, and you saw Sebastian Stan's metal arm, and it didn't look good, and people are like, oh, look at the messed up the
Yeah,
arm, and
yeah.
then you saw it in the movie, I was like, oh, that's amazing.
When it comes to
So I
CG,
know
yeah,
there's
but
treatments and things they're doing. Same thing with like Chadwick Boseman in his Black Panther costume. Like, it looks a little loose and bulky, but then they tighten everything else
yeah.
so it looks smooth. So I get
Yeah,
it.
again,
I'm
these
not like,
trailers are
oh, all
taken from
right,
early footage and things not finished yet, and they're refining it. So you take it with a grain of salt, right?
yeah.
Sometimes trailers get released 6 months in advance. They're still knee deep into this stuff. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't take that. But for what it's worth, it would look fine. It didn't show a whole lot. The third one was Miss Marvel. This one coming out in 2000. I think they announced 2022. I think the early part. This was the one supposed to be released this year until everything kind of got pushed back.
Right.
Right, so we got more footage of this one. Again, it looked interesting. It looked more kid friendly, which is fine.
Yeah.
We got to look at the costume as well, which looked weird. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of
Well,
the.
that's not her finished
I
costume.
assume it wasn't. I assume she's
right. She's actually dressing more like Captain Marvel than the Miss Marvel of her.
Okay.
So that was probably, if it's not episode 2, it's episode 3, like that costume version.
Right, it's like early.
Yeah,
it's like she's practiced. It's the early first. Spider-Man from the original Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi.
Exactly. I mean, she even had like a
saw.
plastic blonde mohawk. It's just, she's very much trying. Like, I think this is what it looks like to be a hero. So
right. But this one, again, they didn't show a whole lot, so whatever. But it looked fine. Yeah, I wish they would have given us more stuff on these at least.
I would have. Yeah.
Miss Marvel was coming out the first one. She-Hulk, you're right. Maybe the CGI's. I get it. They don't do much footage. Moon Knight, I think, is wrapped. I think they could have given us more. So the whole thing was disappointing. The whole event was just disappointing. It didn't hit. It was cool to see footage, but if you're gonna give us footage, give us something.
And not only that,
whatever.
And I know that Quantumania hasn't even like finished or started production, right. But tell us who the writer is going to be for Fantastic Four. Give us something, because I mean, I've been hyped on just the idea of Fantastic Four for like a year already, and I'd like a little bit more. Hoping to develop something.
They didn't do a lot here. I mean, for Disney Day, and I mean, maybe again, there could be another shareholders meeting, or maybe next year doing one of the D23, which is their kind of DC fandom, but live.
They're big con, right? Yeah.
I'm sure I would assume we'll have more then, particularly with Thor coming out and Guardians 3. I'm sure maybe some Blade stuff in there. Now that Blade things, that talk has been kicking up because of the end credits of Eternal. So we're gonna get more, but it just for this session alone, it was just whatever. It was just dumb. It really was. I don't care if I sneak gorilla. I don't. I'm sorry. Not
the only good thing that happened is Jungle Cruise is now on Disney Plus with The Rock.
Yeah, but
and I say that only because I never would have seen that movie in the theater, but that's on a platform. I'm like, I'm gonna watch that because we you already know how you feel about The Rock. I can understand how you feel about The Rock, so I agree. So I'm like, you know what? Sometimes when you're bored, Who want a little ketchup? Just a little.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
And I'm not even a ketchup guy. I'm a mustard guy. But you know what? I see the appeal. So I'm like, all right, yeah, a little ketchup on this. Make the Sunday a little smoother.
There
So
you
why
go.
not? So yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
No.
But those, I will finish off my nuggets for the week there, Eric. So
Those are the nuggets. Like I said, not the worst, but we expected more.
we wanted more. I thought this we're gonna have like a really packed show, with like all
Yeah,
kinds of news
I
and
thought it was
yeah.
gonna be like a. We even talked about maybe streaming the event because we had no idea.
Yeah,
Could that be a thing? Like, I don't know, is
I
that
thought it was like gonna be
possible?
like just okay. Well, I'm not gonna stream a Facebook updating every
Yeah,
10 minutes with a new link to a new trade or whatever or announcement. And it just seems like, and I don't know what it is with Disney and Marvel aside and Star Wars aside, right? Because that's whatever. They have just the lack of originality that Disney has. It's staggering because every show they had was either a sequel or remake, all obviously
a spin-off.
spin-offs. It's just okay, like Cinderella's just a take on Sneakerella's a take on Cinderella. They got Pinocchio coming out, okay, live action version, whatever. High School Musical 4, or the Baymax thing, which I love Baymax, but basically that's a spin-off. And that's all they have.
Yeah.
There's like nothing. I think there was one show where they just gave a title or something about Nate. I forget what it was. That was original property. Everything else was just,
Here's the problem: is that they they gave us nothing concrete of original, and the stuff they did do original, unfortunately, more on the Marvel side than anything else, or even Star Wars. There was nothing to support the original announcement.
right. So,
There was nothing to support a Secret Wars or Secret Invasion or an Armor
yeah.
Wars. There was nothing to it. There was nothing to the X-Men '97. Those are all.
They gave us a
Oh,
quick
that's more
shot
of a
of
reboot.
a quick shot of Samuel Jackson. I love me some Samuel Jackson, but
Yeah,
that doesn't one get me excited. Okay,
that's great.
great.
I mean, listen, I'm glad that he's rocking a beard, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can be white as Nick Fury in a couple of months if I grow this shit
There
out
you
enough.
go.
I go
Must
to the
get,
con.
get a cat and
Like,
fuck
I
up
mean,
the
if I
eye.
get like the scar on my face like that, like I could do something. But like, there was nothing to be like, oh shit. You're right. There was a lot of like anything they kind of showed you was from the Disney side was not an original IP, and Disney is that Marvel's nickname is the House of Ideas, and Disney is we're going to create a version of a thing you've never seen before. But we've all seen Cinderella, we've all seen Pinocchio, we've seen
Yeah.
Baymax. So give us a new IP. Give us a fairy tale of a thing we haven't seen before, and show us something. Give us
Something
something
new
new.
characters
And
to, because look, and I have the Facebook thing paste. So we got so it's the Baymax thing rehash, cheaper by the dozen, okay,
rehash.
disenchanted. I think I'm not sure those are the original movies and new takes on them. Either way, it's rehash. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, okay, rehash.
Yeah.
They had the Beatles. That's the documentary, so I'm not gonna count those. They had this the thing on Chippendale, kind of reboot kind of thing, rehash. Better Nate Than Never is the only thing original. I have no idea what that is. Hocus Pocus 2 rehash. Pinocchio rehash. The Will Smith again documentary things that doesn't really count. What else? There's a Sneakerella, ridiculous. High School Musical. Spiderwick Chronicles, which is really based off existing property. That's
A book and a
yeah,
movie.
Cars
So
on the
yeah.
Road. It's on Pixar Cars. We've seen that 1,000 times. So it's like, okay, it's Utopia. Dude, I mean, there's nothing new at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't for Marvel. And I said Marvel is not really, I know Marvel bases stuff out of independent properties, but that, whatever, fine. But Disney, come on, dude. You got to give us something. Anything. It's really bad.
You can't have a Disney Plus day and have all your auxiliary extensions offer more than you do. That's
It's really bad. And there's a reason. It's funny because I think it's part of the problem. There's a lot of problems with Disney Plus, but they just did a quarterly review or whatever they did, and the projections came in 80% lower as far as what they thought their subscription was going to be
80%
for the
lower.
quarter. Right, they missed their mark by 80%.
Oh,
That's a huge number,
wow.
right? So I think they went up only a couple of million subscribers. They're expecting substantially more based off the growth they had last year. But last year the growth was because it's new. So
And it was a
and the
pandemic.
pandemic. So
So
yeah, of course you're gonna get people at home. Okay, let's get subscriptions. I get even Netflix went up, but that's
so it wasn't 80% drop. It was just 80% lower than their
not projections,
projected.
right? The project for the quarter, which is
Oh,
which
okay. I
is
was like, holy crap, how's that
no,
possible?
but
Okay,
that's
yeah. All
that's a
right.
huge miss. That's that's
Right.
80. You project you miss it by 20%. That's fine, but 80%. So, and I just think, listen, Disney Plus. So I got our conversation about some about the other day where Disney Plus competes with Netflix, and they're not a Netflix competitor at all. Nobody competes with Netflix. Doesn't compete with Disney Plus because the demographics aren't quite the same. If you're an adult, you're getting Netflix.
And right, because Netflix has
Right.
R-rated
Yeah,
movies,
you
and it
get
has
Disney for Marvel and Star Wars. That's it. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't get Disney Plus. I probably wouldn't. You have kids, so maybe you wouldn't. That I get.
Right.
But other than
but
that,
if personally for myself, I wouldn't. If it wasn't for Marvel, if it wasn't for Disney and Marvel, I would.
that's what
not
I'm saying.
Disney
So
Plus.
yeah, and it's like 80.
I mean,
Star
right.
Wars. So like, I think everybody who wanted to see, everyone who's subscribed, who wanted to see these shows, have subscribed, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's not like someone's waiting. If you're in a hardcore nerd like we are, you've already subscribed to Disney Plus. If not, whatever.
And the only way Disney can get those subscription numbers, new IPs.
Of course, exactly. And the game is.
And if you're not going to do new IPs, you're just double downing on what you already
You
have.
can keep the existing base because we're not going to not get it because we want to continue to see Boba Fett and Mandalorian. That's great. But as far as new viewership, again, if you want to see Mando, you've already got Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And you're a Marvel fan, you've already got it. So
already got it.
Yeah, so they don't offer anything new. These other would be Amazon, HBO. They give us new shit all. Netflix gives us shit every fucking week. We're getting something new. It may not be good, but they're giving us something.
They don't promote the crap out of anything.
Right.
They just put it
but
out.
They put it out there, and sometimes it hits big. Squid Game, for example, right, is the most watched show, whatever. It happens. So it is what it is. So I guess I'm not a big fan of Disney Plus. I thank God for Marvel and Star Wars because otherwise.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that. And a quick shout out there. They did have that small Simpsons short where Homer was talking to Goofy.
Yeah, that was just kind of funny.
So, to round it all out, let's not forget the Simpsons in it.
We're going to end on the positive note. We don't want to go full Titans here. That being said, but let's talk about, Doom Patrol. Finale came out.
Season finale.
Which we were kind of talked about. We weren't sure if it was a finale or not. Obviously, it was.
Right.
So yeah, man.
What did you think about it? I want to ask you because I feel like I usually I go off on like deep Doom Patrol tangents. I understand that, but because it's the season finale, I wanted to ask you, what did you think about it?
I was a bit underwhelmed. And not saying it's bad. It's just underwhelmed. I expected more, and we kind of alluded to last week. We thought there was a lot to wrap up, and we're thinking, only one episode left. Okay, doesn't sound right.
And it wasn't a long episode. It was still the same,
45, whatever it was, 48 minutes, more or less, take away credits. And it was okay. It was fine. I guess I like the fact any finale has to do two things. One is wrap up the main storyline and set up a new one. They did that. So in that sense, it's fine. But it just, again, like we said, it glossed over what we thought maybe something there, whether it be a conflict with Madame Rogue or the Brain and whatever. And that was just kind of wrapped up. It was a cool scene with Rita, burned the brain. That was cool. Yeah, that was awesome. That was dark. That's fucked up. Yeah. I love that. And that's the giant robot, as a callback to I think season 1.
The first season 1, yeah.
That was cool as hell.
Great. Right, I wasn't that great, but it was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. But yeah, it was fine. It was okay. I wanted something. I don't know what I want, to be honest with you. I felt rushed.
I'll tell you. The reason I wanted you to take the point of this because I felt the same way. And we're not going to go into big spoilers here because it just came out. It's just Thursday. It'll give you a few days. But I did want to say this. This season, specifically, has been so bold and confident about how weird it can get. I was kind of hoping of a really weird conclusion to this season because think about it was just like 4 or 5 episodes ago where Doom Patrol turned into zombies and had to eat ass monsters.
Yeah. Awesome.
I needed that level of like commitment to the insanity to the conclusion.
I agree totally, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It was,
and that was the thing that I was kind of hoping for. I was like, I hope they go really big in the weirdest way possible. Even like 2 episodes ago, when they were going through that magical mystery tour, coming to terms with themselves, that was weird and big and crazy as well. So I was like, it's gonna be this, and like you had so many things set up.
Even the Madame Rouge baby, which I love. That's this is kind of whack. Like, this is more status quo. Like I said, it wasn't bad. Yeah. I don't think you're saying that either. It was a bad fan.
No, not at all.
It was fine. It was good. It didn't end on a really high note. It for me didn't diminish what we saw the first 9 episodes.
No, not at all.
Great season. I just wanted a little bit more. I expected a little bit more. I think maybe at 11, 12 episodes probably would have lend itself better for this.
Yeah, I agree. I think 12 would have been the sweet spot. 11 or maybe a double size. 10th episode. They make it like an hour
Yeah,
and a
right.
half
Yeah,
episode
or,
or 2 hour
or
episode.
an hour and 15 minutes, whatever, an extra 20, 30 minutes.
Sure.
I think would have just kind of tweaked some things. Yeah, so, but, and it's fine. I mean, I guess I love the robot thing. We finally got the review of the larva thing, and I guess he's ingesting now his body again, whatever, like he had
Right.
before. That's cool. I thought we're gonna have something with Cyborg, but not really.
No,
Yeah,
no. And that'll be for the next
right. I
season.
assume he's
That
gonna.
was a big cyborg
Right,
shift in
I
that
assume he's
tail
gonna
end
get the
show.
stuff back. I don't know. Who knows?
Obviously,
I would
yeah.
because right now he's useless. He's utterly useless. But and this,
He's Dane Whitman.
yeah,
Prequel.
he's, that's exactly what he's out there hanging out with the Eternals and just okay, watching people watching. But yeah, when you're below Rita, that's a problem because she doesn't do shit. She finally did stuff done this one. Like she's
Yeah,
finally okay using her abilities to something
say
good.
what you will about the season and the season finale, they really stepped Rita up to be a much more. She has a sense of agency and urgency
Purpose.
to what she
Yeah,
does
purpose,
now.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, purpose, exactly.
Yeah, and that worked really well for her. So I'm glad it did that. Yeah, it was fine. It was good. Like I said, it was better than last season too by far. I thought.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
in the end,
Because
I don't want to compare the endings because last season was weird, that COVID. So
we did the
yeah,
force wrap everything.
it is what it is. So that's fine. I'm not going to go there. But yeah, I think it was it was really good. I just wish I just want a little bit more. Next season, I think if they embrace now this teamwork thing and now they're a unit and then go fight crime, like more of the typical stuff, which is fine.
Sure.
But they can really rely on that. Just go bonkers with that idea, right? Yeah, we're gonna team up. We're gonna be an X-Men or whatever you want to call it. But now,
I don't know how many seasons this series has. I would like it to be a long time, but I don't know how much it has.
I think for this 5 would be nice. I think.
I whatever the final season is, I feel like they have to wrap up season 1 villain, the Scissormen, the Sisterhood of Dada, and Niall's daughter's candle maker.
I'm sure they're gonna
demon.
come back to that. Yeah.
Like if they could just squash all that into one big resolution season, I would be super excited.
I think they show what's the guy who showed up? He was in the beginning of the season. The guy that does all the magic stuff or whatever, and he took Niall's head.
Oh yeah,
took Niall's
they're
head.
John Constantine.
Yeah, they never brought him back. It was weird, but that's gonna come up again. But
and he still has Niall's head.
exactly. So they're gonna touch on that next season or whatever. But I see 4 or 5, maybe 5, because
I think 5 would be the
perfect
perfect
mark. Because now what's made the show great is the characterization, right? The development, them dealing with their demons or whatever. It seems that they're getting over that, right? So now now it becomes more surface level. Now it's just them acting upon the newfound confidence or whatever, and unity and the fighting. So the show won't be the same. Because what made the show really great was that, right?
Yeah.
If you take that away, okay, what do we have? It could be funny and entertaining, which is great, but that can only last for so long.
I think what the show is going to lean on is that they have come to terms with themselves and they have the best of intentions, but instinctively they're a bunch of fuck ups.
They are.
So how do you overcome the fact that no matter how hard you try, you're still going to screw something up really big? I think that's the really interesting angle that they could take is like how, so that's why I want to see, like, when you come to terms with like, I am only capable of this much. Can I still even say that I'm doing something when I'm only capable?
Because before it's like, they don't want to try. Now they're trying. Can they succeed?
Now they're trying, but now you have to come to terms with the limits of your ability. And I think that's the next step. Is first you have to be okay with yourself, and then you have to be accepting that yourself can only do so much. And I think that
would be the struggle for like a season 4 or maybe in 5. But again, I think 5 would be just fine. Anything more than that, I think now you're just spinning wheels. Essentially,
you make that swan song season 5, and you can even end with like, now they're going more adventures, but now they're a different type of people, so we're not going to follow that adventure anymore because we wanted to follow them when they were like this, right? And I think that's really
that's been the crux of the show has been these guys are just all effed up in
all
the
broken,
head, right?
all broken inside. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you take that away, not the same. So, but listen, it was a good show. I liked it. Listen, it was still good. Just wasn't a great finale. It's not a bad one though. It did the 2 main things I always say: just wrap up and set up. You do that,
and which they did.
Fine. The execution could be better, sure, but because if you don't do that, we've seen finales that don't do that. I hate cliffhangers or that nonsense. It's nonsense. Finish the fucking show. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Finish the storyline. So they did that. So I'm happy. But I guess it's good. Good show, man. It's still the best DC show.
Absolutely.
By far. I mean, I know it doesn't say a whole lot. There's not a lot of them. I hope they do more. I think they are. Yeah, we're getting Peacemaker.
Season
We're
4.
getting Peacemaker. We're gonna get the Green Arrow keeps being, tossed around. Green Lantern. I'm sorry.
Green Lantern.
Being tossed around. So I hope they really kind of do what Marvel's doing with
There's
the shows.
There's a Batgirl coming through.
It's a movie, but still, it's still at home. But yeah, but that could turn into a series. I think that for that we said it, if that hits, they'll do more of her. People say, this movie's awesome. We love Batgirl. Oh, and and a week later, HBO Green Lights series. Oh, of course. Great, fine, right?
Batgirl Snyderverse.
I want it to happen. Yeah, I want it to happen because that means it's good shit. And Peacemaker, same thing. If that hits, okay, season 2, whatever. But yeah, absolutely, why not? But yeah, good show, man. I liked it. It's a really good show, man. It's crazy bonkers. I still say it's not for everybody because it's not.
Oh no, it's totally not for everybody. Like here, I feel like Doom Patrol only works in the same way that Frank Sinatra's My Way works. When you're too young and full of hope and no life experience, you're not going to understand any of this shit. But after you live the life and you've survived things and you've made mistakes and you've overcome it, like Frank Sinatra's My Way hits harder at 33 as it does at 13, and Doom Patrol the same way. You have to know what trauma feels like to go, I get these guys.
Yeah.
When you're all like, hope! Stick with Spider-Man.
You like
easier right now.
People like conventional. I get it. Nothing wrong with that. Not for you.
I always say this. Anyone can get Spider-Man. Anyone can get Spider-Man.
Yeah, of course.
If you understand Doom Patrol, I'm glad you do, but I'm sorry that you do as well.
You're right.
It's not something that comes easily.
Yeah, there's a level of maturity here. I guess like young kids or even teenagers, I don't think will be into. Maybe they are. I may be wrong, but I don't think they'll be as into the show as more people like seasoned individuals, right?
When you're 17, you can kind of get it because it's a little weird. But when you're in your 30s, that's when you're like, oh, this fucking Doom Patrol's amazing. Like there's a level of maturity you have to go through to get to appreciate it. I'm glad that we're there, and I hope that no one else gets there. I hope your lives are happy.
Oh yeah, listen. Well, yeah, I want the show to continue.
Doom Patrol.
But yeah, there's enough of us out there that gone through a bunch of shit that would appreciate the show. So good on us. But hope we'll obviously they're gonna get season 4. I think it's already announced.
Yeah,
was it announced?
No, they did. They
announced
it. They announced it during
the fandom.
Fandom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I get confused with
Doom Patrol Titans.
I'll tell you what. You want to get traumatized? Go watch Titans, and you're gonna get such a much better appreciation of Doom Patrol. Because
Titans will make you so angry you'll do something in anger and cause trauma. Then you watch Doom Patrol is like, oh, I got a lot.
I get it. I'm not alone, right? I'm not alone. We're all Doom Patrol.
We're all Doom Patrol. That should be the hashtag for season 4. We're all Doom Patrol.
That being said, high note, let's end it there.
Yeah, that is a great note to end it, man. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Nerdsplaining. We appreciate all the views. We appreciate all the context. Don't forget, you can always check us out on the Latin News Network, the Nerd Network on YouTube. You can check us out on Instagram at Nerdsplaining Pod. You can check us out on Twitter at Nerdsplaining _. You can check out all the original audio episodes at ericdasilva.com. You can buy my album, Adorably Offensive, available everywhere on Amazon and on Spotify and Apple. It's all there. Don't forget, Christmas is coming up, so it's a great Christmas gift to people that you like, or even better, gifts to people that you hate. I appreciate that as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because that shit helps us, because algorithms and science and shit that I don't want to talk about too much. And don't forget, you can also check out all so many shows like The Watch List and special breakdowns about who is a better comedic contribution, all on the Latin Nerd Network here as well. As always, my name's Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Peace.